Okay, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Again, my name is Linda Scalander. I'm in the Office of Enrollment, Admission, Non-Traditional Admission, working primarily with transfer students. And I do also serve as a liaison with students that are veterans and military families that are seeking assistance. I'm joined today by my colleagues Annie Aschenbrenner, who is also in the Office of Admission with me, and another transfer counselor. So hi, Annie. And she's one of our wonderful CCS 199 instructors and CCS 100 instructors as well. So you could potentially have her for your CCS 199 class. Mary Hensel is also here, and she is one of our school certifying officers, our SCOs. And Ian Burgard is our incoming SCO for Carroll University. So with that being said, I will go ahead and let Mary take it from here. She's going to be sharing a PowerPoint with us, talking about veterans benefits, and I will go ahead and mute myself. Thanks, Mary.
Okay. Go ahead and share my screen here. Well, welcome. We're very excited that you're thinking about Carroll and coming here, or you've already decided to come here. And we certainly want to make sure that we can do our best to help you with anything VA related while you are here, whether you are active military, a veteran, a family member who's receiving benefits from someone. We help everyone. So let's take a look here. So this is just going to be kind of a brief overview of what we offer and how it all works. So know your SCOs. So you've got two of us live and in person here today. You've got me and Ian. And the third one is our Associate Register, Ashley Oldenburg. So the SCO at Carroll is typically housed out of the registrar's office. I used to work down there, and I've moved to a different office, which is why we now have Ian taking over for us. But I'm certainly still here as a resource. But yeah, we are all trained through the VA and have access to their systems and can help you guys out. So getting started with benefits. This is a point that's not everybody understands. We at Carroll do not decide what benefit you have. A lot of times people come to us and they're like, I served or my dad served, and what benefits can I use? We don't know that. We might have a guess based on what you can tell us the service was or what you're looking at, but that determination of what you're eligible for, how much benefit, how long, all of that starts with the VA. So I've got here some links. So the federal GI Bill is going to be the main one that people start with, but then there's also Wisconsin National Guard a lot of people have, and we also have the Wisconsin Grant for Private Nonprofit Schools, which is the private school portion of the Wisconsin GI Bill. So that's truly going to be your starting place in terms of finding out what the government is going to be able to give you. Okay, so what programs are covered? Every year we do a review with the state of our catalog, any new programs. So we've got some exciting new programs like drone technologies and video game design, and those are all covered. The only program we have that is not covered is the marine sciences, and that's simply because it's a partnership degree that you actually finish at a different school. So the VA can't cover us for it because we're not considered the home school. Chapter 31 students, if any of you are looking to come here, you're going to have an extra layer of approval that you're going to have to get from your VA counselor in order to make sure that your program is approved by them. And if you just want to see, just double check, there is the link here to the Public WEAMS report, which does list all of our covered programs. So you can verify for yourself that, yes, what I'm looking at is going to be covered. So what do we need from you to get started? Linda and her team are amazing, and they walk you through all this stuff when you've reached out to admissions. But just so you know, coming in, if you don't share this with a counselor, sometimes you're coming in as a dependent and a very traditional student, and you might not realize till after you're here that, oh, my parent can give me benefits or whatnot. So sometimes you're already way past the admission process by the time that happens. The things we need as SCOs to help you get started are a DD-214, which is a discharge document. If you're still active military because you're reserve or whatever, we sometimes will take like a copy of like a blacked out pay stub or something indicating that you're currently serving. The other piece that we have for federal benefits is the certificate of eligibility. That's going to say how many months of coverage you're entitled to, what kind of coverage. There's links here about how to find those resources and how to obtain those. And the third piece for any of our military members is their joint services transcript. Carroll has just in this past year said we're going to take up to 60 JST credits, which is huge for a lot of our incoming people, because we do have programs that take elective credit, and whether those JST credits, where we can, we will decide like, oh, that's equivalent to one of our leadership classes or to a business class. But sometimes it simply comes in as a block of elective credit, but that can still help you towards the 128 count minimum that students need to graduate. So it's important if you've got those to at some point get us that transcript so we can evaluate that for you and add those in.
And Mary, could I also just add that if you have additional credits from other institutions, often students take courses through CCAF, Community College of the Air Force, or University of Maryland, places like that. These are things that we might see commonly while students are in the military. We would ask that you send us those transcripts as well, and we will also include those in your credit evaluation.
Yeah, we want to, you've done a lot of work, you've done it for us, so we want to make sure that we're giving you credit for it. And then you'll see here at the bottom is the link to the veteran student application checklist that Linda and the admission team have put together, so that, you know, just kind of helps you go through the steps of what you might need to get started. So help us help you. A lot of times, you know, I'll get a phone call or an email and be like, I have the GI Bill benefits. Even that is confusing, and I blame the state because I'm guessing they came up with the name afterward, but there's a federal GI Bill and there's a Wisconsin GI Bill. So GI Bill alone doesn't tell us what it is we're trying to help you with. So as much information as you can when you do your first contact with the SEO is really helpful. So, you know, we want to know, are you actively in the military? Are you a veteran? Are you related to a veteran? Are you the spouse, a dependent? Sometimes you're a survivor who has benefits. You know, the military branch, the types of service. An important thing for anyone who's looking to transfer benefits to a dependent or spouse is the disability rating, because certain benefits do require that. So that's something to find out. Your home state of residency, that can be a factor in what benefits we're able to get for you. Are you looking at federal or state? And if you're already in the VA system, that can actually make the process a lot easier, as if, oh, we'll just go into the VA system and find you in there, and, you know, we can see what you have available that way. So as much of that information as you can do a little fact finding before you reach out to us can really help us move forward with that conversation. So let's start with the federal benefits. The most popular one that you hear about is the post 9/11 GI Bill, which you'll also hear us refer to as Chapter 33. And that is used, it's probably the main benefit that we have, federal benefit that we have students use. It's good for undergraduate or graduate programs. It covers tuition and fees, and it's paid directly to the school. And you have a percentage of coverage based on length of service and type of service. So I think I've seen anywhere from 40 to 100% coverage. So if you're 100% coverage, that's great. Everything, you know, all your tuition and fees, after we've deducted any tuition specific scholarships from Carroll or outside sources, is going to be covered by the VA. In addition to that, you get a book stipend of up to $1,000 a year. And you also get a housing allowance that's paid directly to you based on Milwaukee's E5 rate for someone with dependents, which is about $2,000, $2,100 right now. So that's the Chapter 33. Now we have the Montgomery GI Bill for Selected Reserve, which we call Chapter 1606. So this is used commonly by our reservist students and National Guard members. and they'll often combine this benefit with other benefits. This is a stipend that's paid directly to the student. They, depending on their testing, when they initially did their training, they might receive what's called a kicker that will increase that monthly amount. We do get statements from the VA that that money was paid out. We do certify the number of credits a student's taking, but we don't track those funds. Those funds don't affect, we don't have to deduct them when we're looking at other benefits, like if you're going to use the Wisconsin grant. So it combines nicely with some other benefits for you. We have the Veteran Readiness and Employment, VRNE Chapter 31 program. So this is going to be for our veterans who have qualified based on their disability rating and are looking to come back and change careers, do different job skills, whatnot. So it's only veterans, undergraduate or graduate programs. It covers pretty much everything. So it's going to be, tuition fees, books. They do supplies up to $50. And there's a monthly housing stipend that goes to the student. So that is a very high level of benefit. Then there's Survivors and Dependents Education Assistance, which can be known as the DEI or FRI Scholarship, and Chapter 35. So this is for our family members who either have a living veteran who's 100% disabled, so it could be spouse, it could be a child, or unfortunately a surviving student as well, so someone who's lost a family member to the military. And again, that's paid out as a monthly stipend. I think the last total I saw was somewhere around $1,400 a month. The VA adjusts its payment rates annually based on a lot of factors. And again, that can be combined with other resources if need be. So then we have the state benefits. So you heard me mention the Wisconsin GI Bill. We do not pay out the Wisconsin GI Bill the same way that state schools do. We get that confusion a lot because we do get students that transfer back and forth between the public and private schools. At the public schools, my understanding is it's basically a full tuition benefit for the semester. So up until about 2 years ago, the private schools didn't even have access to do anything with this bill. So at this point, what the state has developed is the Wisconsin Veteran Assistance Grant. And so this is basically the private school, our portion of the GI Bill. It pulls from that same pool of credits and semesters. So if you used part of it there, you have the balance to use here. You don't start over again with another 128 credits and whatnot. So it does the state does track you across the schools that you're at. It does require the same eligibility that the Wisconsin GI Bill has. So it has a 30% disability rating for anybody who's going to be sharing it with a spouse or dependent. It does require FAFSA. This has tripped us up a lot in that a lot of students who are getting GI benefits think, oh, I'm not going to need financial aid, or they just know, the family has more money, they're not going to qualify. I know it can be a little time consuming if you're not used to doing it, but it really is to your benefit to fill it out for a lot of reasons. Just something could change, something could happen, then it's in place. And if there are other benefits we can get you, through the VA or just general financial aid, it's to your benefit to fill out FAFSA. But if you want this specific grant, you have to. They will not process it unless you have filled out FAFSA. And it does have a cumulative 2.0 requirement that you have to maintain to keep the grant. And that fits right in line with most schools that have a 2.0 minimum that they expect their students to carry. It's up to $4,000 a semester. And that is $2,000 coming from the state and $2,000 coming from the school. So $4,000 total each semester, and it covers tuition and fees only. So if you're only taking, if you're part-time and say it's only $3,600 for your bill, we're not going to pay you $4,000. It's only going to cover up to what you actually would have paid out of pocket. And it is eligible for the fall, spring, and summer semesters, which is nice. So you can use it year-round. So up to $12,000 a year is basically what that benefit could bring you. And then, oops, sorry, we have the Wisconsin National Guard grant. So that is for our active National Guard members, and it's a reimbursement grant, and it's based on the state rates of tuition. And what reimbursement means, that means anybody who's using that is going to pay up front for their tuition and fees, even if that's making a payment arrangement with the business office to make it more manageable if needed. But you are going to get that money sent directly to you after the end of the semester, once all the grades are reported. If you're maintaining that 2.0, again, that's required for that. But you will be expected to pay everything else out of pocket. And again, this is a grant that some people use with that other Wisconsin Veteran Assistance Grant. So this is a common misconception, is what yellow ribbon is. So want to let you know, Carroll is a yellow ribbon school, but want to explain exactly what that means. The VA has this annual cap on tuition and fees for private universities. So this is the 23-24 cap, $27,000. So I'm just going to ballpark. Carroll's average tuition is $18,200, I think, fall semester and spring semester. Well, okay, we're already over that cap. But what we do when we figure all this out is we deduct scholarship money and all these other things first. So we're not sending that full bill to the VA every semester. So we don't actually have a lot of students that max out. But the only ones who are available for yellow ribbon are students receiving Chapter 33 at the 100%, and then they have to meet one of these other qualifications that have to do with length of service and various things. They're only going to fall into that cap when they truly exceed it. So we have had a couple students, maybe because they take classes year-round, it's worked out that way, or in our graduate programs where they don't have the same financial aid package. And they've maxed out. Okay, they've hit that $27,000, but there's still a $5,000 balance. Who pays that? The answer is Carroll and the VA both pay that. We share that bill. We're not going to make the student pay it. We are going to split it 50-50. That is what the yellow ribbon agreement is saying, is that any balance that exceeds that annual cap, Carroll and the VA are going to absorb that cost evenly. The student is not going to be obligated to pay anything additional if they qualify and go into that yellow ribbon. But a lot of times people think it means, oh, I'm covered if I run out of months of benefits. You still have to have benefits remaining when you go into yellow ribbon to get that coverage. So it's not an extension of your months. That's a different process if we have to look at that. Can I combine benefits? As I've been kind of saying, definitely. And then the VA encourages it. They want you to, you've done your service, your family members done their service. They want you to benefit from that. So combinations that definitely work are any Chapter 33 less than 100%. Because it covers tuition and fees, you cannot make money. We cannot make money on your schooling. So if you're 100%, you're good, you're covered, you're not going to be looking at any other benefits. But if you're 80, 90%, whatever it is, you have other options. You can look at that Wisconsin Veteran Assistance Grant if you qualify, or you can do National Guard. Sometimes I've had students who do all three, depending on what their percentages are and how much funding they need. Chapter 1606 is the same way. It can be used with that Wisconsin Veteran Grant or the National Guard Grant, or possibly both. Chapter 35 is, that's the dependence benefit. That's another one where we have students definitely also receiving that Wisconsin Veteran Grant. So again, Chapter 33, 100%, you simply don't need any other benefits. So that's all you're going to get at that time. And Chapter 31 would be the same. Everything is just simply covered under that one benefit. So there's not a need for something additional there. So how does the housing allowance work? That's a common question we get. So generally we see it with the post 9/11 Chapter 33, they get a housing allowance. Chapter 31 students will also get it. But again, that rate is based on that E5 with dependence rate. So here is the 2178 is the current rate that our students would be getting this year. It's paid kind of retroactively for the month. So students start September 7th and they're going, where's my housing allowance? The VA is not going to send that housing allowance till the end of September. So they're always paying at the end of the month for the previous month. So you have to plan for that accordingly. If obviously, Chapter 33 covers all of your tuition and fees, but we obviously have students staying on campus, so they've got housing and meals and other costs that they need to take care of. So that is something that the family is going to have to look at. How are we going to pay for those? Whether that's they have the money in a 529, they might have, funds that they're doing. They could set up a payment plan. You're going to be getting that monthly housing allowance from the VA, but it's not going to be all up front when that bill is due to Carroll. So it's just something that you're going to want to kind of plan for and think about how you're going to arrange for those payments. But the payments are prorated. So when it's a partial month, you're not going to get a full month's benefit. When you're not full-time, they do base those payment rates based on how many credits a student is taking and various things, and you have to certify that enrollment every month. And the last thing to know about that housing payment is if for some reason we don't have a lot of online classes at Carroll, but if it worked out that you were taking all online classes, that basically cuts your payment in half, and it's based on 50% of the national rate. So it's about $9,000, so significantly less. So that's something to keep in mind. Show me the money. This is probably kind of small for people to see online, but just you'll get this presentation and you can take a closer look at it. This would be a Chapter 33 100% example. We don't care what you're paying for housing and meals, not part of the calculations Ian and I or any SCO would be doing. We're just looking at tuition and fees, which involves like any comprehensive fees, course fees, all of that. We're going to add that up. Then we're going to look at any tuition-specific scholarship or aid grants that you are getting. We do nothing with the federal money that you're getting, whether that's a loan, a grant, that is yours to keep. We do not look at that. So we add up your scholarship funds, we subtract the two, 9710. That is the amount we're going to ask for from the VA. We're not going to ask for that whole amount. Like I said, we're only going to ask for that balance of tuition and fees. So your gray total here adds up to $4,900. So that's fantastic. You've got that other money coming in, but you owe $6,075 in meals and housing. So, I'm going to come up short. So out of pocket, you're looking at $1,125, but you're receiving that monthly housing stipend of $2,178. So by the end of that first month, you're going to be paid in full. You're still going to get that MHA money every subsequent month that you're enrolled. So families sometimes bank that money, for upcoming terms, invest it, whatever works for your family. Sometimes there's other needs that they have for it, but it definitely works out that if you are Chapter 33 100%, most students easily at some point will break even and then actually end up ahead in terms of because of that housing benefit. Other benefits are going to pay out differently, but that just gives you one example. And added benefits, we have priority registration. And you can thank our Carroll Student Veteran Organization for that. That's one of the things that they pushed for on campus. They're looking to always add people. They include dependents and people who haven't served but are part of our overall military family. They consider you part of that Carroll Student Veteran Organization. So they want you to feel at home, and they want you to feel at home if you use the house that we now have available on campus. It's swipe card access specifically for students who are related to our military. And that's the CDR Dan F. Schanhauer Veterans House right here on campus. It's got kind of an office set up with some computers and printer and a lounge area and a kitchenette, study space, meeting space. It's a really nice space that the campus has put together for you. These are some additional links. Just want to make sure that we've covered all the bases for some of the forms you might need for things, as well as like the GI Bill comparison tool that can kind of help you see what you can get at different schools and the rates that are changing every year. And then questions. And that can be from our guests, that can be from any of my coworkers who are here, if there's something I missed or didn't cover. What else?
And Mary, just to again clarify, that housing stipend is a monthly stipend with that amount that you're quoting. And so one of the things that I've had questions about, to your point, is that if they don't get that upfront and they're getting that on a monthly basis and they've got this bill, oh my gosh, what should I do? So we do tell students to make sure they reach out to our business office. I think you mentioned that. And there are payment plans available that students can set up. And it works out really well so that, again, you're not worried about how it is that you might pay for this. By the time maybe you have to pay for the first installment, you might actually get that, that stipend from the assistance from the government. So again, good to know, good to be aware of. And I think the other thing to keep in mind from my perspective is that we have a team of people here that work cohesively. So we may give you a scholarship. To Mary's point, we are going to subtract those kinds of dollars, but Mary's then working with our financial aid office and maybe in some cases with our business office to make sure that you are getting the support you need and the answers that you need. Maybe Mary isn't the right person to ask that question of, but maybe the person in financial aid is. So Mary's presentation was also shared with all of my colleagues to make sure that they have the most recent information. And that can be, again, really helpful. So that would just be my input. Annie, did you have anything, or Ian, to add?
I can see Annie has a question here.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks, Mary. If you could, we get that question a lot about FAFSA, so I just want to make sure that that's outlined. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, we definitely get people who are, especially the Chapter 33, 100%, the Chapter 31, they're like, well, I don't want to be bothered to fill out FAFSA. They don't have to. If you want that Wisconsin Veteran Assistant Grant, you have to fill out FAFSA. So I generally recommend that there's no harm, and it doesn't harm anybody to fill out FAFSA. So you might find out you're eligible for a federal grant fund that you didn't know you were eligible for. You can always turn down anything you're given. Right. You're going to be offered federal loans. You do not have to accept them. So I've really never seen anybody harmed by filling out FAFSA or ever heard that that's counted against them in any way. So as much as possible, we do try and encourage everybody to fill out FAFSA because as we've had students who've run out of benefits. I mean, that happens. There's only so many months of Chapter 33 that they get. Maybe it took them longer in school than they expected. And now they're scrambling to get FAFSA turned in because they need Carroll scholarship money. They need loans. They need things that, and financially doesn't know quite what to do with them if they don't have that FAFSA in place. So as much as possible, we do that. We do, if students do not fill out FAFSA, they're still probably going to get a merit scholarship from financial aid. They have to tell financial aid, I am not filling out FAFSA, please release my merit scholarship. Otherwise, financial aid is holding on to that money waiting for your FAFSA. So you want to make sure that you're communicating with financial aid if you're not going to fill it out.
Right. And Mary, to your point, we recommend on our end that all of our students do complete that form if they are military veteran students or military families for exactly the reason that you're saying, because we just, and I know the state, when we were talking about the state grant and we talked about how important it is to fill out the FAFSA, we're not the only school that says to do that if they're, maybe getting even full benefits. In talking to the other private schools in Wisconsin, they all recommend it, as well as many of the state schools do recommend that as well. So that's great advice. And then on our side, we do certainly then it'll be flagged in the system as filing for financial aid. And we have I think somewhere around 98% of our students that receive financial aid here at Carroll. So it's almost everybody. And we recommend that you do that. To Mary's point, if a student is what we call merit only, meaning they're not applying for any other financial aid other than what they maybe get from the military or from the government, we could put them in as a merit only, and then they're not filing FAFSA. But unless we know that, as Mary said, that's basically sitting there and not being processed in a holding pattern, until we know that for sure. We know that student is merit only, great, we can proceed forward. But there can be that disconnect if students don't tell us.
Yep. One other thing I wanted to let people know, the VA is government. We're busy, their offices are busy. There are going to be delays in these processes, whether, it's when we're able to certify you, when they send us the funds, when the business office is able to get those funds put on your account. We know those delays are in place. As much as possible, we maintain, obviously, various lists of students getting the various types of benefits. We're in constant communication with the business office regarding who to put holds on, who not to put holds on. So we do evaluate those, and we look at and we like, they're waiting on money. This is nothing that they did, let's not put a hold on them. That's going to prevent them from registering or doing anything else. So we are in very close contact. So we always tell our students receiving VA benefits, if you see a hold on your account, if you see a late fee, if you see anything happening, financially with your account, reach out to the SCO, start with us and be like, hey, I saw this. I haven't gotten my funding yet. What are we doing? We will work with you. We'll work with the business office and see what we can do to make sure that, that doesn't impede your progress in any way.
Right. And I keep in mind that we're partners in this educational journey. So you're not alone. And we don't say that lightly. And we mean it. I tell students all the time, okay, let me take care of things behind the scenes for you. That's my job. Don't ever think that you're bothering us or that you're being a nuisance. You're not. This is our job to help you. So make sure that you call on us in our various roles to make sure that we're advocating for you and with you to help you get answers. In some cases, we may need to refer you, and we will do that. But anything revolving Carroll stuff, whether it is benefits, admission pieces, financial aid pieces, academics, registration, we do our best to help you in a very timely way. Ian, is there anything else that you wanted to include, or not really?
Not necessarily include. I did have one question that I wanted to ask. So Mary, you had mentioned that veteran students can't make money off of their benefits, but is there the chance with like a Chapter 33 student that monthly stipend puts them like over the top and they're actually in a way making money on their benefits with that housing stipend?
The housing is a different piece. When I'm talking about that, I'm talking about specifically the tuition and fees.
Okay. Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah, good clarification.
Then,
but yeah,
okay.
so it's literally because that the Chapter 33 funds are going to come to the school first, and then they're going to go to the student on that. We just need to make sure that we never exceed the actual cost of tuition and fees.
Okay, so it's just limited to tuition and fees then. Okay.
Excellent question, Ian.
Yeah.
Does anyone else?
That's all I had. So.
Okay, anyone else? And Ashley, I don't know if you want to ask a question now or if it's specific to you, then, certainly in terms of privacy, we may want to end the recording and we can, leave the meeting and you and Mary can stay on and connect, and maybe Ian along with that. Is that what you'd like to do?
Yeah, mine's more just specific to my benefits.
Okay, and I think it's important that we note that we are always very conscious of privacy, and in many cases, if it's a general answer or general question, general answer that will help the group at large, we would tell you to ask that. If it's more specific to you and private, you can reach out to, again, Mary, Ian, or one of us. So Annie, is there anything else that you needed to add or ask about?
No, I think we're good. Thanks so much, Mary and Ian, for the info.
Yes, it's been very helpful. So with that being said, I will end the recording, and I just ended the recording.